Hi, it's Terreana. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Here you will find makeup, hair, all things beauty and lifestyle content. If that sounds good to you, hang out and subscribe. If you already subscribed, hey, it's so good to see you back. In today's video, I'm gonna give you my top 5 eyeshadow tips for beginners. Let's go ahead and get started. The very first eyeshadow tip for a beginner is to identify your eye shape. Once you figure out what your eye shape is, you'll kind of get an idea of where to place shadows so that you can really enhance your eye. I have an almond eye shape. When I close my eyes, I have a lot of lid space. When I open my eyes, it creases right in here. If I place any eyeshadow in the crease, when my eyes are open, you will not be able to see it. So if I'm spending my time just blending the shadows in my crease, you won't be able to see it. So by knowing your eye shape, you can place the shadows where they should be so that you can maximize your eye look. For me, since my eye creases in this area, I would place eyeshadow a little bit above my crease. That way you could see all the hard work that I put in, regardless if my eyes are open or closed. Also with eye shapes, more mature eyes or eyes that might have a little bit of loose skin towards the edges of the eye, if you place certain shadows right on the skin that's a little loose, you might not be able to see it and it might not be as flattering. There's different techniques that you can use to maximize the eye area. You just gotta first recognize what type of shape of eye you have. That leads me into my second eyeshadow tip for a beginner, and that is choosing the right brush for your eye shape. I would take a brush similar to this. This is the Salazi crease brush, the L215. It looks like this. So with my eye shape, since I have a lot of lid space, if I'm blending in this area here, this would be the perfect for my eye shape. Now, if you don't have a lot of lid space there, you would go in with a smaller type of blending brush. This is a Feuillon brush. It comes in a set. This is a smaller brush. It's great for eyes that don't have a lot of lid space, or if you're doing some detail blending, it'll get right in those small spaces and blend out the eyeshadow perfectly. I have 2 other brushes. These are both synthetic brushes by Morphe. One is the M224, and that's this one here. It is a flat synthetic brush. And then the next one is the M4110. It's also a flat synthetic brush, but it's a bit smaller. This one is square while this one is rounded. These are great brushes pretty much for any eye type, but this one is flat, so it's really great for laying down shadows that have shimmer in them or metallic. If you wet a shadow and apply it with this brush, it goes on flawlessly. Same with this brush, but it's a tiny bit smaller and you can do a little bit more of detail work. Brushes like this are also great underneath the lash line. A good brush set will have a variety of different brush sizes and different textures of brushes. That way you can have a complete eyeshadow look. It doesn't really matter the cost of the brush as long as the brush is comfortable for you and it works well. My third eyeshadow tip for a beginner is to find your perfect palette. My perfect palette is by Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina. I love this palette so much. It has been through it. It's just my perfect palette because I can make so many different looks with it. I can go from dramatic to super neutral to natural, everything. I can pick this up, go, and just have so much fun with it. The colors in the palette are very vibrant and they complement my eyes as well. So I encourage you, find an eyeshadow palette that you love, something that sparks joy in you. Hashtag Marie Kondo. Find an eyeshadow palette that makes you feel super happy, that makes you want to use it and makes you want to practice with it. The second thing with that is color theory. Color theory can get a little confusing at the beginning. Don't stress it. When you're just beginning, just remember this simple rule. First, locate your eye color, then choose a color on the opposite side of the wheel. That color should be around the color to complement your eyes. There's definitely more things that I can say that go in depth about color theory that also relate to your skin tone, your hair color, and those type of things. But since this is a beginner video, we'll just stop right there. Makeup is supposed to be fun. So if color theory is not your thing, just choose your palette and have fun with it. My fourth eyeshadow tip for a beginner is to use a primer. Not just any primer, but use the right primer for whatever look you're trying to create. I have quite a few options right here. If you don't have primers at home, that's fine. You could start with a concealer. I suggest using a concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than your natural skin tone. That way the eyeshadows can really stand out. I also like these 3 others. This one is by P. Louise. It's the P. Louise base. It's really nice and kind of thick in consistency. While using this on your lids, your eyeshadows will really pop. And the other 2 that I have here is this Fenty primer and this primer by e.l.f. It's a glitter glue primer. These primers are both very sticky in consistency. Shimmer shadows, metallic shadows, and glitter work perfectly with this type of primer. This one right here is the glitter primer, and this one up here is the Fenty primer. And as you can see, they're very kind of thick in consistency, and they're both pretty tacky. These 2 here are the concealer and the P. Louise base. If you see there's those 2 blended out. It just gives a very nice base for your lid. My 5th eyeshadow tip for a beginner is to clean your brushes. Please clean your brushes. Please. It is so important. 1, because you don't want to have anything that can infect your eye. Get all that nastiness out of your brush. Also, when you are blending, if you have pigment already in your brush and you're trying to mix 2 different shadows in there, it could really muddy up your look and cause your look to not look as flawless as possible. I have 2 options. The first one that I have is the clean sweep. It's a spongy type of situation here. You just put your brush in here and swirl it around like this. And while you're doing your eyeshadow, it's a really quick way to switch in between colors. The other option I have is this makeup cleansing towel. The same idea, you just take your brush and you kind of just swirl it around and it pulls the pigment out of the brush. Those are 2 really quick ways to clean your brush while you're switching in between colors. I'll link down below some other options of how I clean my brushes. That's my last eyeshadow tip, but I also wanted to mention this. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. It's so important to just take a palette or a few shadows that you love and just practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. And just remember this, every single expert was a beginner first. So just start practicing and you'll be an expert in no time. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope that you are staying happy and safe. Don't forget to check me out on my website, it's Terreana.com. Check me out on my other socials, it's Terreana everywhere. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.